How's it going? My name is Darren and welcome back to Coffee Hammer. Age of Sigmar Spearhead has been out for over a year with new armies, updated rules and gaming pack taking us to the undead realm of Shyish. Spearhead is all about having fun, fast games with amazing looking armies that are mostly balanced, with some standing above the rest while others struggle near the bottom. In today's video we're going to answer the question that's been heating up the mortal realms: which Spearhead armies are the strongest? I'm going to be focusing on the Spearhead boxes that you can currently buy online or in store, so armies like the Deathrattle Tomb Host and Snarlback Hunters will not be featured. This also includes older Spearhead boxes that have been replaced by newer ones when the Army Battle Tome was released. With all that said, let's break down and see what makes a powerful Spearhead. A strong and competitive Spearhead can be defined by a combination of 5 key attributes. Speed and mobilities. Armies with fast, mobile units that can get across the battlefield efficiently, the ability to reposition, flank, seize control of objectives and complete battle tactics is crucial. Strength and firepower. Armies that can overwhelm the enemy at the point of attack with significant strength or firepower. This can be a combination of ranged units to soften up the targets and hard-hitting cavalry to finish the job. They have the ability to inflict maximum damage at minimum cost. Combined arms and synergy. Armies that utilize their units in a combined force to support each other and cover weaknesses. They have abilities that synergize well and brings out the effectiveness of each unit. Tactical flexibility. Armies that can adapt to a changing battlefield with a diverse set of tools to handle different situations. Units can perform multiple roles and handle unexpected twists or battle tactic cards. And finally, durability and resilience. Armies that can mitigate damage with high amounts of health, heavy armor or ward saves stay in the fight for longer. Abilities that heal and return slain models also increases the resilience of the army. So a strong and competitive Spearhead army is not just about having powerful units. It's about a cohesive strategy that leverages speed, concentrated force, and a combined arms approach to break the enemy, exploit weaknesses, and control the battlefield. With this knowledge, I have 3 contenders that contain these attributes and are consistently tearing up the tabletop. First up, we have the Gloomspite Gitz. These deranged, unruly, and surprisingly potent faction of goblins, trolls, and squigs are defined by their cunning nature, affinity for mushrooms, and a fanatical worship of the bad moon. A malevolent and sentient celestial entity that travels unpredictable paths across the mortal realms. Its leering glow is a source of power and madness for the Gitz that fuels their lunacy and further known as the Gloomspite. This light grants them strength, emboldens their cowardly hearts and drives them to emerge from their subterranean lairs to wage destructive mayhem on the surface. This Spearhead box is packed with a Loon Boss, 3 Rockgut Troggoths, 10 Squig Hoppers and 20 Moonclan Stabbers. The Gitz are all about overwhelming your opponent with a combined arms of durable Rockgut Troggoths and numerous Moonclan Stabbers. The Troggoths are one of the most durable and resilient units in the game. With 5 health, 4+ save and 5+ ward, they will be mitigating a lot of the damage directed onto them. And when they do eventually take some damage, they can regenerate and heal D3 at the start of every turn. The Stabbers act as both an objective holder and shield for your other units. They can throw their nets on an enemy infantry unit in combat, giving them -1 to hit this turn. Squig Hoppers bounce around with unpredictable movement, dealing mortal damage to units they moved across. The Loon Boss is a fragile and important synergy piece, as it can return D6 slain models to a Moonclan Stabbers unit or give them +1 to their hit rolls. The whole army truly shines when under the light of the bad moon. Their unique battle trait ability gives each of your units an additional benefit whilst wholly within a certain territory. The Moonclan Stabbers add 3 to the control score, making them even better at holding objectives. Rockgut Troggoths add 1 to save rolls, increasing their durability even further, and Squig Hoppers can retreat without taking mortal damage, letting them constantly move around the battlefield dealing more mortal damage with their bounces. The Gloomspite Gitz excel at swarming the board and can completely overrun their enemies. The army can play both an offensive and defensive strategy at the same time. While some abilities require crucial dice rolls, the Gloomspite Gitz are surprisingly consistent and an extremely effective army on the battlefield. Next, let's talk about the Sylvaneth, a fascinating and unique faction in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. They are the vengeful children of nature and the protectors of the wild forests in the mortal realms. The Sylvaneth are the eternal children of Alariel, the Everqueen, goddess of life. Grown from seeds called soul pods that contain the remnants of the forest spirits and elves from the world that was, the Sylvaneth are now guardians of Ghyran and all life in the mortal realms. They are sworn enemies to any force that seeks to defile, corrupt, or destroy nature. Although they ally themselves to the forces of order, they are prone to extreme violence against anyone who trespasses on their territory, cuts down a sacred tree or two, or otherwise harms the natural world. Their wrath is as sudden and fierce as wildfire, and they can turn on their allies if they feel their motives are impure. The Sylvaneth Spearhead Box is a small force with 1 Branch Witch, 1 Tree Lord, 3 Kurnoth Hunters and 5 Tree Revenants. On first glance it might not look like a lot, but from experience playing this army, it is an absolute force of nature. Their unique battle trait lets you heal 1 to each of your units that are within 3 inches of a terrain feature. They can also strike and fade at the end of turn, letting you teleport a unit from one terrain piece to another. The army is super durable and mobile because of this ability, and the war scrolls are equally as strong. The Kurnoth Hunters are tanky and provide valuable range support, while the Tree Revenants can switch between offensive and defensive stances in combat. And the Tree Lord is a massive monster that deals damage in shooting and combat, and it can also make a unit strike last, giving you the opportunity to strike with everything first. The Branch Witch is also a fragile and important synergy piece, whose magic can return D3 slain Tree Revenants or 1 Kurnoth Hunter. The army's regiment ability, Walkers of the Hidden Paths, unlocks another movement ability, giving the whole army more mobility and flexibility, while the enhancement Regrowth turns your general into a healing powerhouse. It is a highly tactical army that requires finesse and precise positioning. In the right hands it feels almost unstoppable. With incredible survivability, damage output and border control, this army dominates the battlefield. And finally we have the Slaves to Darkness, one of the most iconic and popular factions in all of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and for good reasons too. Mortals who were abandoned by their gods and left to the mercy of the rampaging forces of darkness, they believed the only way to survive is to embrace the brutal nature of chaos. A devoted warrior who proves their worth might be rewarded with a powerful boon, newfound strength, or even a physical mutation. However, displeasing the ruinous powers, they can be terribly cursed, with the most common and feared outcome being horrifically transformed into a chaos spawn. Only the most cunning, powerful, and favoured of champions can survive this dangerous path. Each chaos warrior in service of a mighty warlord harbours that desire and ambition for power. The Slaves to Darkness Spearhead Box contains a Chaos Lord, 1 Chaos Chariot, 10 Chaos Warriors and 5 Chaos Knights. The army is filled with durable, heavy hitters that march across the battlefield. The Chaos Knights are one of the strongest cavalry units in the game and can strike down nearly anything it charges into. They don't come onto the battlefield until round 2, which might seem like a negative at first, but in reality it lets you keep them protected from turn 1 charges, and you can position them however you like with their dreaded arrival ability, giving you the best tactical advantage. The Chaos Chariot brings swift death, dealing mortal damages on the charge and acting as a roadblock with its large base. And Chaos Warriors move up the battlefield, challenging enemy units standing on objectives. The passive Bringers of Desolation gives them +1 to wound rolls when targeting an enemy unit that is contesting an objective you do not control. And the Chaos Lord is a powerful combat hero that can give one of your units +1 to hit rolls in combat. He can also roll on the Eye of the Gods table in each of your hero phases. The army's unique battle trait lets you roll on the Eye of the Gods table at the end of every turn if a friendly unit destroys an enemy unit, or the unit is contesting an objective not controlled by your opponent and is not in combat. You roll a dice on the table to give that unit a permanent buff, like a 6+ ward, -1 to be wounded, or even +1 to their rend of melee weapons. While Sylvaneth and Gloomspite's durability comes in the form of healing and returning slain models, the Slaves to Darkness utilizes their natural high armor saves, raw damage output, and continuous buffs to bring death to their enemies. Although their playstyle may be more straightforward than the other two, the army is a powerful force on the battlefield that can go toe to toe with just about anything. So which one is the strongest? The Gloomspite Gitz are all about overwhelming the enemy, The Sylvaneth are masters of movement and attrition, and the Slaves to Darkness are champions of consistent, brutal damage. Each of these armies are strong in their own right, as well as fantastic starting points for new players looking for a rewarding experience on the tabletop. As for me, I have the most experience playing the Sylvaneth army, so I'm putting them at number 1 on my list. These spearheads aren't the only 3 strongest armies out there. Maggotkin of Nurgle, Soulblight Gravelords and even Stormcast Eternals are able to take these armies head on and not make things easy for them. And that brings us to the end of the top 3 strongest spearhead armies. Let me know in the comments below which spearhead army you think is the strongest. If you found this video helpful, click that like button and share with your friends who haven't given Spearhead a go. Subscribe for more Age of Sigmar content, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!